In this video, I'm going to be sharing with you guys the 100-day challenge for the 100 pieces of content I'm challenging you to create. So my name is Nick Foy, the founder of Nick Foy TV YouTube channel, and I run a couple websites in different niches. I'm in the fitness niche now, I'm in the real estate, and the golf niche. So I started some blogs in these different niches, found what was working. Now I share those tips with you guys on my YouTube channel. So if you guys are new here today, make sure you hit the subscribe button to help us out. We are growing. We've crossed over 3,000 subscribers, and by the time you're watching this, hopefully we have many more subscribers. So today's video, the 100-day challenge, I thought of the question, what if I publish 100 pieces of content over the next 100 days? So after publishing content to my blogs for the last couple years, doing about one post a week, 4 posts a month, sometimes 5 posts a month, I wasn't seeing insane traffic growth. I was seeing a lot of growth eventually once I started marketing those blog articles on Pinterest, which I cover a lot of other videos on that in my channel if you want to check out my Pinterest playlist. But other than that, Pinterest was driving me most of my traffic for a little while. Google wasn't sending me a whole lot of traffic each month. So what I wanted to do was see what happens if I start cranking more content out, because I realized that the content I did have on my blog was ranking. So I started thinking, maybe if I just put out more content would rank, and I would start getting more clicks through to my website from Google searches. So in a little bit, I'm going to share with you those results. So let's go ahead and move on to talking more about the 100-day challenge. All right, so first, how do you even come up with 100 ideas? So if you're thinking this sounds crazy to put out one piece of content a day for 100 days, how do you come up with 100 different types of content? So that's a good question. What I would do is start off thinking about, whatever niche you're in. So in my case, let's do, real estate investing, or if we make it broader, real estate investing is a smaller sub niche of a bigger niche called personal finance. So with personal finance, you could come up with 10 topics. So one topic could be, getting out of debt. One topic could be, credit cards. We've got real estate. We've got stocks. We've got bonds. We've got buying a home, planning for retirement, planning for a family. So there's lots of different topics we could cover in personal finance. So we could break that up into 10 topics, and then we could come up with 10 individual ideas for each of those topics. So for example, the getting out of debt topic, how to create a budget, how much should we allocate towards investing versus debt, how to pay down student loan debt quicker, how to pay down credit card debt. So there's already, 4 or 5 ideas right there, and you could come up with 10 other ideas for that particular topic, and then you repeat that for real estate investing. What are tips for being a landlord? What are tips for being a house flipper? How to buy properties without cash? How to buy properties with loans? So you get the idea there. Whatever topic or niche you're in, just come up with a bunch of topics and then break each topic down with, relative blog posts for each of those topics. And in a minute, I'm going to share with you how you can come up with more ideas and inspiration. So one method is the Google search filler tool. So if we go over to Google, which I can go ahead and do real quick for you. All right, so keeping it on personal finance, if we start typing in budgeting here, you can see this little drop-down menu. We've got budgeting, budgeting apps, budgeting 101, budgeting tips, budgeting worksheets, strategy, software, tools. So these are all different suggestions. If we type in budgeting for, then we get more suggestions: college students, dummies, a baby, teens, kids, young adults. So just by typing in a few words into the Google search bar tool, it'll start spitting out, a bunch of different suggested terms, and you can start targeting these as your article ideas of who you're going to write an article for, or what kind of, question people are typing in. So if you start to type in some kind of question, how to get out of debt, and then you're going to see other ideas: how to get out of debt fast, without money, with bad credit. So these can all be separate ideas around that topic. All right, another idea is to scroll Pinterest. So again, Pinterest is a great platform for publishing photos that link to your blog articles and your YouTube videos, and then people on Pinterest come across those photos and they click through them, and it takes them back to your website, to your blog, or it takes them over to YouTube, to your YouTube videos. So it's one of the best ways to get traffic to a blog initially until you start ranking in Google and getting Google traffic and other traffic from search engines like Yahoo and Bing. So I started using Pinterest when I was trying to figure out how to grow my website traffic, grow my income, and was kind of blown away by the results. It kind of stumbled upon it. So with Pinterest, basically you just scroll down the news feed looking at different pins. You can type your topic into the search bar and they'll spit out a bunch of different pins related to that topic. So I could go on there, type in debt, and it'll show me a bunch of pins related to debt that people have written articles around, and then they design these fancy pins and they put a title on the pin, which is just a photo. When I say pin, I mean it's just a photo, and they overlay it with some text that says, how to get out of debt, so that way people know it's an article, and you can click through that pin and it'll take you to the article to read it. So that can give you some inspiration as well, seeing what other content people are pinning on Pinterest that you could write those similar types of articles around, or create a video around if you're doing this for YouTube, or a podcast episode if you're doing this, for a podcast. So again, you can browse forums on the internet. That's pretty straightforward. That's another way to get inspiration. Look through forums, where people are talking about different topics. So if you find like a personal finance forum running on this personal finance theme example, I would go on there, see what kind of questions people are asking about personal finance, and then you can get an idea of what kind of questions people have, and you can create content around those questions people have by providing some kind of answer. So I've done that a lot of times here on my YouTube channel. I see people asking, how do I do this related to a website, or how do I do that? So I'll create, a tutorial video around a website showing people how to do something, so that gives them a solution or an answer to their question, to their problem. And I can source that inspiration, of course, by going on to YouTube, looking up, different YouTube video ideas that other publishers are putting out onto YouTube. So if you're in the website niche or the blogging niche, then of course you'd want to be on other websites and other blogs sourcing content as well. But a good way to get that idea, start off in these forums. Another type of forum is Quora. It's another place people go on and ask questions, and users can get on there and type in answers, so you can get inspiration from other answers you see and other questions on there. If you look at blogs of other websites in your niche, so looking at your competitors, just do a quick Google search of whatever topic and you'll see some of the top ranking websites that come up. So in the personal finance space, you guys have probably heard of NerdWallet. They're a big personal finance site. Trying to think of any others offhand, but you can go there onto Google and find who some of the top big time websites are that rank in Google for some of the most popular terms. And then you can kind of go from there, looking through their blog posts to see what kind of articles they've been publishing, and that can give you ideas what kind of content to put out on your blog as well. And you can make it better or longer or different, kind of that way you're not just putting out the same content. Ideally, you want to beat your competition, so you want to put out better content than them, so you can start using theirs as like, a way to get started, but you can make it better, more in depth, sort of thing. You can also ask your community. So if you've got an existing following on social media, on YouTube, if you've got an email list of people that you send emails out to, you can ask them, by surveying them, different topics they'd like you to create content around, and you can get some ideas from that. All right, next we want to plan it all out. So again, we came up with those 10 topics roughly as one example, and then 10 ideas per topic. That's just an outline. You don't have to do it exactly like that. But ideally, you do want to use some kind of theme. So talking about one topic first, and then you can move on to the next topic, and then the next topic. That way you kind of keep things organized and in order, so that, for example, a lot of blogs for 1 month, they might talk about getting out of debt. And then the second month, they might talk about investing. And then the next month, they might talk about, vacations and how to vacation on a budget. So they might cover different topics each month. So each month is kind of its own theme. That way it's easy when they're blasting out this content on their social media and on their email lists. They can let all their followers and their community know, hey, this month we're going to be covering, this particular topic. And that way their followers can tune into their website every day or every week to check to see what their newest piece of content is that they published regarding that theme. So that's just one cool way to do it, rather than trying to, randomly write on all kinds of different topics at once. I think you'll find it's much easier to kind of batch process things and cover it all, at one time. All right, as far as creating it, once you've planned it all out and organized it, and you figured out what months and what weeks you want to talk about what types of topics, the next thing is just getting out there and creating it. So ideally, if you're going to do one piece of content every day for 100 days, you should set aside about 2 hours in your daytime to create your one piece of content. And that should be doable for most of you. If you have to, consider waking up earlier in the morning. If a lot of you like to sleep in until the last minute and to get ready to go to work or something, instead consider, maybe waking up at 5 a.m. and spending, maybe 5:30 to 7:30 working on your one piece of content. We don't know that it's necessarily going to take the entire 2 hours every day. It might only take you 1 hour, especially if you're filming like a YouTube video, for example. It might take you 15, 20 minutes to sit down, film your YouTube video, and then you might spend the next half hour editing your video and, saving it as an MP4 video file, getting it ready then to upload later to YouTube. So that might only take you about an hour. If you're writing a blog post, you might spend the first 20, 30 minutes researching your blog post idea, coming up with inspiration, other articles that have content you want to talk about in your article, so pulling ideas, and then maybe you spend another 30 minutes kind of planning it out, putting your title in, your different headings, and then maybe you spend that final hour actually cranking out writing that article, and that could take the full 2 hours. So depends what kind of content you're making, how in-depth you're going, but 2 hours is probably a good amount of time to set aside. And then again, if you have to, you can come back later that night and kind of edit and touch things up a little bit if you ran out of time in the morning because you had to go to work or, whatever it is you're doing throughout the day. So again, once it's created, you can review it, you can make edits to it. A lot of times I like to create a piece of content where I kind of just free flow. I'll just go, I'll make the video or I'll write the blog article, I'll let it go, I'll save it as a draft, and then I'll come back the day I'm getting ready to publish it, and I'll go through and make any final edits or changes. That way I've had time to kind of process everything and think about it before I actually post it. All right, researching title ideas, bullet point number 3 here. Again, the whole goal here is to draw people's attention and get clicks. Otherwise, nobody's ever going to see your content. So that's how it works on YouTube. That's how it works on Google. When people are searching these platforms, they have a bunch of different options to click on, a lot of different videos on YouTube they could click on around a topic, a lot of different articles on Google they could click on around a topic. So in order to make yours stand out, you got to have a very intriguing, catchy title, but you don't want it to be so obscure that it hurts your SEO, like your chances of ranking for a topic. So you still want to use some main keywords. Like if I was writing a topic about budgeting, I would say like 101 budgeting tips for college students. So I at least target the word budgeting tips in there so I can maybe rank for that term. But I could also rank for, budgeting tips for college students. So that gives me a couple different ways, to rank for a specific topic using one title. But at the same time, my title's interesting because I said here's 101 budgeting tips. So that's a lot of tips that might catch somebody's eye more so than, just a title that says budgeting tips for college students. So adding in some of those extra words there to make things a little more intriguing to try to get those clicks, and that could draw people to your article over somebody else's that's your competition ranking, on the same page of Google or on the same YouTube search page as you. All right, lastly, let's talk about hiring it out real quick. So if creating 100 pieces of content is going to be tedious, you can always outsource depending on what kind of content you're creating. For example, with blog posts, you can hire writers. So that's currently what I'm doing on my new fitness site I just started. I've got somebody I'm collabing with that we're covering all the social media content. We're creating tons of videos for social media, for Instagram, to get a following on Instagram. And then we're creating all these videos to repurpose on YouTube. And then we're, handling all the other promotional stuff like email marketing, putting stuff out on Pinterest. So all the content marketing on all these platforms is taking a ton of time. So instead of spending our time creating the content, we're, hiring it out. We're hiring the blog part out, I should say. So we've hired writers to write the blog posts, and then we can go promote them later, on Pinterest, and hopefully they can rank in Google. That way we could focus our time on our email list, on our video marketing, to YouTube and to our Instagram page. Now for videos, again, you can hire an editor. So if you want to shoot the video, but you don't have time to edit it, or maybe you don't have the editing skills, you could then send all your footage to a video editor, let them edit it, since editing tends to take the longest. It's usually pretty quick to shoot videos, especially if you're making like a travel video, for example. You'd spend, a day going around shooting all kinds of different footage, and then later you could spend hours and hours and hours back in your room trying to edit all the footage, trying to piece it all together, put music to it. So it might save you time and effort to just hire an editor instead. Audio, if you're doing podcast episodes, you could record your podcast, and then you could have an editor go through and cut out any errors or shorten clips where you had pauses in between times you were talking. So just think of different ways that you can hire some kind of an assistant to help you produce your content if you think that you have the budget for it and you don't have the time to do it yourself and you prefer to just outsource it. All right, so let's talk some benefits now. 100 days straight of putting out a quality piece of content. So one, it's going to be a lot of content. Once you make it all and you've got it all, you're going to have a ton of content now out there to put out on the internet to spread. So again, think about one piece of content, how you can put it on all these different platforms. You could put it on, Facebook, Pinterest, Twitter, YouTube, Instagram, LinkedIn. So there's 6 different platforms you could publish one piece of content to get it out there in front of all your different followers and all of these different people on these platforms using hashtags. Some of these platforms are search engines. So once you publish the content, it can get found organically from people searching, like on Pinterest or like on YouTube. So there's lots of ways to get your content out there and seen on all these different platforms. It also brings brand awareness growth. So just even if they don't necessarily click through all the time to read your content, being out with that much content out on these platforms, it's kind of going to flood these platforms. So they're always constantly, once a day, they're seeing a new piece of content from you. And that's going to kind of train your followers and the people on these platforms to see this person putting out content all the time. So it's going to keep you at the top of their mind. That's probably what a lot of these big social media influencers do to you. You could probably think right now a couple social media influencers that you follow that are consistently putting out content every day, and that's how they stay on the top of your mind, even though you might not have been to their website in months. And then 2, you're going to get more email subscribers. So as you get more traffic coming through to your website, you're going to be able to capture more of that traffic to an email list. So if you've already got an email system set up using MailChimp or MailerLite or ConvertKit, you can have pop-up forms that pop up on your website offering a free video lesson or a free guide, and that could draw people into your email list. So not only are you getting a bump in traffic to your website, but you're going to get a bump in email subscribers. And then lastly, more customers, of course. That's the whole goal here if running an online business. If you're trying to blog and make money or run your YouTube channel and make money from it, the more traffic you get, the more chances you get to turn somebody into a customer and make more money in your business while also providing them value from your content. All right, lastly, let's talk about my results. So I'm going to go ahead here and let's go out here to the Google Search Console. So Google Search Console is the platform that tracks clicks coming from Google. So going back the last 3 months, we just started the month of April here. So beginning of January 1st through the end of March, you can see here we are down in that 300 range. And then here we are 3 months later at the end of March up in that 650 to 750 range. So traffic has doubled these first 3 months since the beginning of the year in 2019. And I'm actually on like day 130 or 40. I think we're getting close to being 5 months in now. So almost 150 days in a row of publishing one post a day. If we drew this map back to like November when I started it, you'd see that we were down in like the 250 range. So now that here we are almost 5 months later up near the 750 line, getting 750 people clicking from Google in one day, you can see that that's at least a double of traffic, almost a triple in Google clicks coming from Google. So just to show you this consistent kind of uprising chart growth over here that's resulted from putting out one quality blog article a day on my website, and that's helped grow my traffic coming to Google. So if you repeated this on like a YouTube channel, putting out one piece of quality content a day on YouTube, you could probably expect your views and your subscribers to kind of go up in this uptrending line by putting out consistent content on a day-to-day basis. So give it a try and let me know in the comments what works for you. If creating all these different pieces of content helps you grow not only on Google or YouTube, but having those other social media platforms as well to put this content out there. I think overall you're going to see a big growth in traffic to your website or traffic to your social media channels, depending on where you're trying to drive that traffic to. More customers, more email subscribers. So give it a try. Let me know how it goes. And also, if you are new to the channel, make sure to subscribe before you leave today. I come out with these videos on a weekly basis. We're trying to get back to posting daily on YouTube, but as you can see, my attention is putting out daily content on different blogs of mine. And I'm, getting the free time now to start pumping out daily YouTube content as well for this brand as well as some of my other brands. So thanks for watching. I'll see you guys in the next upload. And until then, make sure you got notifications turned on so you can be alerted when that comes.